Dear students, welcome you all on this digital platform. In the previous video uploaded by me, I have already discussed two kinds of essay, and they are informal and formal essay. Now, in this video, very briefly, I'll discuss with you periodical essay. What is the meaning of the periodical essay? Here in our university, we have Francis Bacon in our course. We have Charles Lamb in our course. And I gave the example of Charles Lamb and Francis Bacon for different kind of essays. Coming to periodical essay, what does periodical essay mean? Now, first look at the word periodical. Periodical. Now, the essays, as you know that Francis Bacon published around 58 essays which were published in 3 different editions. Lamb's essays were published in Essays of Elia. Now periodical, look at the word periodical. Periodical essays were the essays which were not published in book form. And they were published periodically. Periodically means after fixed interval of time. So essays which were not published in book form and which were published after fixed interval of time, maybe weekly, maybe fortnightly, they were called periodical essays. So periodical essay is an essay that appears in some journal or magazine or some periodical, and that is why we give this title to it. The periodical essay rose to the prominence in 18th century, neoclassical age. When I say neoclassical age, I mean 1660 to 1798. We cover Restoration age also here in this period. But periodical essays rose to the prominence in the first part of the 18th century, which generally we call, when we talk about poetry, at the age of Pope, the age of Queen Anne. Early 18th century, which witnessed the rise of journalism, also saw the rise of the periodical essays. Why such kind of essays were written? Because they were very much suited for social and literary criticism. Just after Restoration age, the moral values were deteriorated, and we have satire and all that in 18th century. It was Daniel Defoe's periodical called Review. This is the first example of periodical essay. And later on, this form was made popular by two great masters, Addison and Steele. And these two periodicals which are published by them are the Tatler and the Spectator. Joint venture of Addison and Steele. Tatler 1709, Spectator 1711. Now, the Tatler and the Spectator uh, they are actually the periodicals I mean, we can consider that they started the beginning of the modern essay. And we have such immortal characters like, the character of uh, Sir Roger D. Coverley. Such human character has been depicted in this particular, in these particular essays, that they started preparing for the modern novel also. So, whenever we start talking about the precursors of the novel, so we always mention the name of these periodical essays because they sowed the seeds of the novel. Now, I saw the famous statement of, George Saintsbury, a famous critic, Saintsbury, because the purpose of, these essays, as Joseph Addison said, to enliven morality with wit, morality with wit, and to temper wit with morality. This was a statement made by, Joseph Addison. And Saintsbury, said that these, essays taught the 18th century how it should be and what are those points which should be, avoided by the people. So we have, a mild satire actually there in these, essays. When we read the essays of Joseph Addison, we have the mild, satire. Joseph Addison is not that, a kind of bitter as, Swift is in his, works, but we have the mild, satire there. So after, this review, Daniel Defoe's review, we come to the Tatler and the Spectator, and the tradition is, continued, and we have the example of Dr. Samuel Johnson, who wrote the Rambler and the Idler. 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 And Olio Goldsmith, whose series actually Citizen of the World was published, appeared in the Public Ledger. So what you have learnt in this topic, the periodical essays were the essays which were not published in book form, but they were published, in some journals or some, magazines. And the word periodical is significant because they were published periodically, that is after fixed interval time. They were written in 18th century, neoclassical age. This is the time period of the neoclassical age. Daniel Defoe started writing it first, and the review is an example. Then we have the masters of periodical essays, Addison and Steele. They wrote the Tatler and the Spectator, two famous periodicals, one published in 1709, the other published in 1711. As far as the contribution of these periodicals is concerned, they also the swords of the modern novel, because we have some, live characters like Sir Roger, D. Coverley, as is depicted in these, periodicals. And we have, the statement of Addison as far as the purpose of these, essays is concerned, to enliven morality with wit and to temper wit with morality. And I also told you about the statement of John Sainsbury, that what did he say about the purpose of the periodical essays. When we say, the Tatler, of the Tatler essays, Edison contributed, 42, and 36 were contributed in collaboration with Steele, while at least 108 are the works of Steele alone. So we have 108 essays by Steele, 36 in collaboration with Steele, and 42 by Edison separately. Then I told you that Dr. Samuel Johnson wrote The Rambler and the Idler, and Oliver Goldsmith essays were published in the Public Ledger. So this much for this